Hi, this is Kat Kalashian. Welcome to the Live and Invest Overseas podcast. Today we're talking about digital nomads. What are they? What does it mean to be one? How can you become one? Where should you become one? Where should you go? And in a sequence after you've become one. So here we go. The ultimate guide to becoming a digital nomad overseas. So first of all, let's just start with what does it mean? Basically, it means living a dream life. Have you ever been on vacation, for example, and thought, how great would it be if I could just stay here, live this life of adventure with freedom and flexibility, travel the world, but not have to worry about finding a job or making money? Maybe you've also thought about not having to have a 9-to-5 routine, or not being able or not having to be stuck at a desk all day long, being able to maybe work a 9-to-5, but not from a desk, from maybe a cafe, a beach, a terrace, wherever you want, wherever in the world. Basically, this is what it means to become a digital nomad, to have all of these fantasies fulfilled. And it's the ultimate way to live out all of these dreams that people tend to have when they go overseas and become enamored with a new destination. And of course, COVID really drove this home for us, the fact that we don't need to go to an office necessarily, and there are lots of other options and ways to work in the world. With the right skills and knowledge, you can really explore the world and make a living from anywhere with an internet connection. That's really the only requirement, is that you have an internet connection. And it doesn't even need to be a stable full-time internet connection necessarily. Depends on what exactly you're doing. That might be a requirement, but it might just be that you need a place with good internet connection at the end of the day to upload or email or do whatever it is to transmit your work to someone else. So it's not like you necessarily need to be all day, every day attached to an internet connection. So here we are going to talk about the steps that you'll take, how to find the resources that you'll need to become a successful digital nomad. What does it take to become one? Where are the best destinations? How will you find local resources? We're going to tell you all of that and how to transform your life and embark on the journey of a lifetime. What is a digital nomad? A digital nomad works primarily from a remote location, so not a set location, and not in a traditional office, though you may have access to an office if you choose to. If that's the way you want to set up your life. Really, what it means is that you can customize your life any way that you want. You'll work online from anywhere, again, with a reliable internet connection, at least for part of the day. And as I said, the popularity of being a digital nomad has really grown in the last decade, certainly, but in the past 5 years for sure. And again, this is because of COVID. It taught us all of these lessons about how we can figure out new ways to work in our new digital world via video, teleconferencing, instant messaging, and all of the other ways that we're keeping in touch on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis, even in some cases. So thanks to the rise of remote working and the ease of accessing the internet from everywhere, digital nomadism has really taken off and has found its niche in our modern world. There are no specific requirements or qualifications needed, though you will probably, depending on where you go, there may be a few requirements, or certainly if you're in a certain industry, there will be qualifications, but there's no specific license, let's say, or a permit to be a digital nomad. There's no entity that you go to request the license to be a digital nomad. There are basically all you need are the right skills and the know-how and a little bit of self-discipline. Let's be honest. You can't be a really type B personality and be able to give yourself that kick in the bum that you're going to need to get up and out of bed every day to do your work if you don't have a boss hovering over your shoulders. So it takes also a little bit of perhaps self-knowledge to know whether you are the kind of person who can work so independently. Because remember, if you're not in an office, if you're the kind of person who thrives on that social interaction in an office and that bouncing of ideas, it also depends on your industry. If you're in a very creative industry, you might really need to be around other people. On the other hand, you may work best by yourself. You may think, I would love to get rid of all these office politics. So, it takes the right skills and the right know-how. And although there is no set path, there are some steps that you can take to launch your life as a digital nomad. As I said, everything about being a digital nomad can be tailored to your own lifestyle and goals. You can work as little or as much as you want. You can work on a full-time basis, a part-time basis, or just freelance as you want to. It can be the source of your 100% source of your income, or it can just be a little bit of a supplement to boost your income or to just cover your travel costs. That's another way to look at this. What are the benefits of becoming a digital nomad? Well, there are many. I'm sure even just listening to these first couple of minutes of me talking, you've thought of all the benefits. Well, I can get a tan while I'm working on the beach. I can go out to a 3-hour lunch and then come home and work 3 hours later. It doesn't, I'm not set to a rigid schedule, and there's nobody, as I say, nobody looking over your shoulder. Again, that can be a good or a bad thing depending on your personality and your style of working. So let's look at the benefits. It's a chance to travel the world, right? That's at its most basic. That's what it is. Working remotely allows you to travel to any destination you'd like to in the world without having to worry about where your next paycheck is coming from, or if you're using up your vacation days, whatever your current setup is, you don't need to worry about that anymore. You'll also learn some new skills. If you want to learn programming or design, all kinds of design, really. The fields here within these two categories of programming or design, there are many, many, many subcategories under each of those. So, learning those things as you go, whether it's by building your own website or learning how to set up an online CV, all of these are new skills that are good to learn at any age. You could also pick up new languages, which is, of course, one of the best things that you can do with your brain. Research and science have shown us that learning a second language is a way to keep your brain healthy and active, even into your later years. And it's been shown as a way to combat Alzheimer's and senility. And of course, on a more practical level, that learning new languages will really, really boost you in a global marketplace. So if you're looking at being a digital nomad, you're looking at having an international workplace, and the more languages you speak, the better off you'll be. Don't take me too literally here. Of course, it's great to speak Spanish or Mandarin or French, but also think about coding languages and, programming languages. All of these languages that you could learn will be useful to you even outside of your life as a digital nomad. The income potential is actually quite high. If you have the right skills, you can actually earn a substantial income from anywhere in the world, even working fewer hours perhaps than you're working now. Again, this is completely dependent on what industry you're in, what skills you have, what you can market it yourself as. But don't think that this is just chump change. It's just pennies here and there. This can really be a way to not just continue your life at its current level, but to actually rocket you into a new level. And, at Live and Invest Overseas, many of us are digital nomads, and we work with many, many people who call themselves digital nomads all over the world, whether they work directly for us or not. So you'll hear from some of those people in future videos. It's also, interestingly, a chance to learn about yourself. So I hinted at this when I said you've got to have a certain amount of self-awareness to know whether you could actually pull this off or not. Do you like to be independent? Do you think you'd be too lonely working on your own? And do you have the discipline that it takes to fulfill your own goals? If nobody's standing over you with a carrot or a stick, are you going to be able to provide your own carrot and stick inside your head? So, of course, living overseas and working this way will come with its own set of challenges. And working remotely this way, living remotely this way, you might be with a spouse, with a partner, with a friend even doing this, or you could be totally alone. And any situation like that will really force you to confront yourself, your own motivations, your own values. And so this can be a really fun way to get to know yourself in a new phase of life. It also means more time with friends and family. I think this is probably the number one reason, aside from the travel maybe, that a lot of people would choose this, because people are sick of spending all their time in an office, not getting home until the kids are asleep, never being able to go to the ball games or whatever it is, the dance recitals, the flute recitals, and not spending quality time with their spouse, their partner, their friends, their, any kind of loved one. And I think this is especially bad in America. I know most of Europe does not treat work hours the same way that Americans do, where, a 9 to 5 is a mere suggestion, but most people are working earlier and later than that. So, it means that you've got more flexibility. As I say, you could choose to spend your afternoon out with your kids if they've got the afternoon off school or whatever it is, and just make up those hours over the weekend. Or you're choosing to work freelance or part-time, and you're not even bound by hours of any kind. You're just bound by a deadline. And as long as you meet that deadline, it doesn't matter how much time you've spent getting there. No more office politics was something that I also mentioned. Imagine never having to deal with, the imposter syndrome or the toxic work environments, the bad managers, the annoying interns, all of these little things that can annoy you in an office, down to crappy coffee from the cafeteria, instead of having a machine brewed instant coffee from a vending machine, you could be having a freshly brewed cup of espresso in Italy as you go about your workday. So, think about that. Take yourself out of that office. Would that be a plus or a minus for you? Because of course, if you do feel like you need an office, there are ways to structure yourself that way, which we'll get to in a minute. So what skills would you need? You would need to find consistent remote work. So you would have to have a certain amount of go get it-ism. You would have to take the initiative and really put yourself out there and be constantly following up leads, looking for new jobs. There are many online marketplaces to help you do this. Just a few off the top of my head are Upwork, Remote.co, which is CO, or People Per Hour. These are 3 good sites. And a few skills specifically that will help you. If you recognize yourself in any of these things that I mentioned, then you know that you've already kind of got a leg up on this. So strong communication skills, because you're going to have to communicate your ideas, your recommendations, your instructions clearly and concisely remotely. So, it's hard enough sometimes explaining things in person, but imagine having to do that via email or, potentially via a web connection, some kind of telecommunication. But, with that, we always talk about how in email, you really lack the tone and the facial expressions that go with so much of human communication. So, would you be able to hack that? Would you be able to deal with communicating remotely all the time? Technical skills. So if you've got any programming, design, engineering skills, these are all tailor-made industries for digital nomadism. So if you've got anything like that under your belt already, you're pretty sure to find some way of putting your skills to use. Entrepreneurial skills are very important as well. To become a digital nomad, you've really got to be able to source your own work, manage your time effectively, meet deadlines, negotiate fair prices for your work or your services. So you've got to really manage yourself and everything that you're doing. Networking skills are, of course, important. You're going to need to talk with other professionals, whether it's online, in person, or over the phone. And of course, knowledge of your industry or your desired industry. If you're trying to break into something new, you've really got to know your stuff. You've got to be an expert in your field. You should be reading blogs and books. You should be attending workshops, courses, networking with others in your industry, and staying on top of everything that's happening as it's happening. So how do you actually make money as a digital nomad? Here are just a few ideas. Really, the ideas are unlimited. The possibilities are unlimited. It's your own imagination really is what will limit you in this field. So again, maybe that's another required skill that might help you, is a bit of creativity in coming up with ideas for what to do. So freelance work is a top option. You'll find remote freelance work on websites like Upwork and Remote.co. There's a wide range of work that can be done in this field, whether it's programming, design, marketing, writing, photography, teaching, anything at all. Really. Consulting is another great option. So if you are already an expert in your field, then you could be consulting with companies or individuals on strategy, management, marketing, technology, and you'll find work through specific consulting sites such as Thoughtly or Expert Market. Those are 2 good options. You could also create your own work. Of course, if you've got some entrepreneurial skills and motivation, you could just create your own company or set of services and find your own clients remotely. Teaching is a great option. If you've got any skill that you can pass on to others, primarily language is one of the top options here. Almost everybody in the world is looking to speak English these days. So if you speak English, it doesn't even necessarily matter that you have any kind of degree. Some places will require a certain level of education or a TOEFL certificate. But many people, especially if you're working, for example, with parents of children who want their children to speak naturally in English, not academically in English, but naturally, the first thing they're going to do is just want somebody with either a British or an American accent, depending on what industry they think their kid might get into or what country their kid might go to. And so that's really valuable, just the fact that you are a native speaker, because so many teachers out there aren't. E-commerce is another option. If you've got those entrepreneurial skills and some capital, then you could start your own e-commerce business and find work remotely. Some other places that you might look for help on some specific tips for how to become a digital nomad, we've got a couple of reports here that might help you. The Digital Digital Nomad in the Era of COVID-19 is our Overseas Haven report on how nomads were able to pursue their lifestyle in the climate of COVID, which is still ongoing more and less degrees all over the world. When it comes to lockdowns, border closures, social distancing, how does that all affect a digital nomad? If that's a particular concern to you, the COVID factor, then that's a great report. We've also just got a general report on how to be a digital nomad, more info on how to get started with lots of specific recommendations, the best kinds of jobs, and a lot more on the top havens that you might like to settle in and why they are great. Next video, we'll be getting into how to choose the right destination and what are the top destinations that you should be considering as a digital nomad. In the meantime, I'm Kat Kalashian for Live and Invest Overseas, wishing you happy trails.